The Giants open the second quarter to the start of their season with a tough Week 5 road matchup out in the Emerald State against the 3-1 Seattle Seahawks. What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon London, and it is time for your Week 5 Blue Rush preview show. Now, things are going to be a little bit different in today's show. Because of the Jewish holiday, our longtime Giants beat writer for the Post, Paul Schwartz, won't be with us. So happy Rosh Hashanah to all of our Jewish Giants fans out there, and of course to you and your family as well, Paul. But we're still going to have a great show for you guys. Our New York Post NFL reporter, Ryan Dunleavy, is going to fill in for Paul. I'm going into the locker room to talk with Dexter Lawrence, Burns and Tyrone Tracy Jr. to get you all some sort of player perspective on the game. And I got some next-gen stats for you guys to show you what the analytics say about Sunday. But first, let's get into this week's injury report and storylines with Ryan Dunleavy.
Obviously, the injury news for the Giants is what's been buzzing all over social media all throughout the week. Malik Nabers out on concussion protocol. You were at practice on Thursday. Can you kind of give us a update on what everyone's health is like and who you think is going to play and who may be out on Sunday?
I'll give you the good news first, right? It's nice for Giants fans to hear some good news.
Yeah.
Adoree Jackson and Drew Phillips are both trending towards playing. Now, it's before practice Friday, so we don't know for sure. I would expect both will be listed as questionable probably, but I think they're trending towards playing. They're back on the practice field on Thursday. And that's huge against the Seahawks. They have the number one ranked passing attack in the NFL. They have three good receivers. They don't just have a Justin Jefferson or Amari Cooper. They have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So the Giants need all the corners they can get. It sounds like they're going to get those two back. And then the not so good news would be that Devin Singletary seems likely to not play, which would be Tyrone Tracy and Eric Gray up. And then Malik Nabers, I would say, is almost, fighting an uphill battle is nice. It's almost impossible for him to play. It seems like he's in step 2. Thursday, he was in step 2 of the 5-step concussion protocol, no on-field practice. So he's still got to go through limited participation, full participation, football activities, cleared by an independent neurologist. It's not impossible because you can do more than one step in a day, but you're squeezing a lot. You're time crunching a lot.
Yeah.
Before a Saturday morning flight to Seattle.
Yeah, and for that, I'm like in my head, I'm thinking he's out then because You're talking about the guy who could potentially be the face of the franchise, the guy who the offense kind of runs through. It's one of those games where you may have to sit him. You've had 10 days off by the time they play, but if he's not right, if he's not out there by now being ready to do some football drills and kind of get out there on team drills, it's one of those things, Ryan, where I would sit him down, and that's kind of unfortunate because, we look at his numbers on the year, leads the team in receptions, third with 35, receiving yards, 386, and touchdowns with 3. We're talking about Daniel Jones being 0-2 career record versus the Seahawks, 2 interceptions. This is a get back, get right, and you got to get on track game for the offensive passing game. They do say things like, okay, Malik Nabers isn't the only one getting the targets. Wan'Dale Robinson, I believe, is like 5th or 6th in the league in targets, but those are short intermediate routes. Wan'Dale Robinson is the Wes Welker / Edelman jet sweep guy that can get carries out of the backfield or through some sort of jet sweep, or he can get the short intermediate passing, which Daniel Jones feels efficient with this year. He's efficient when it comes to throwing, under 10, 15 yards. But this offense is going to have to hit on the big play against these corners, against this secondary, to be able to not only to shorten the field to score, but to hit on the big play to keep the defense, keep the Seahawks offense off of the field. How do they generate some sort of deep passing game this game, Ryan?
Well, you said a lot there, so let me start with this. If you take Malik Nabers out, what is the Giants' offense? It's probably Devin Singletary heavy. Well, now I'm going to take Devin Singletary out too. So now you're down to whatever your third identity on offense would be, which is, to your point, a lot of Wan'Dale Robinson. I joked with him in the locker room on Thursday. I said, you're going to set the NFL record for targets in a game tomorrow. Like, you're going to have like 35 targets. and they're all going to be like 5 yards. How do they generate a deep passing game? Jalen Hyatt's the guy who's going to step in for Malik Nabers, and that is Jalen Hyatt's specialty. So we haven't seen it really this year. We saw a little of it last year. Now, the thing with deep passes is they're not high percentage completions. So like if you throw 4 or 5 to Jalen Hyatt and you hit one for 40 yards, everybody's going to be super excited. It'll be on our show. It'll be on, everywhere. Look at this 40-yard pass completion. Yeah. But like the 4 incompletions bring up 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10. Yeah. So like, yeah, it sounds great to hit a deep ball to Jalen Hyatt, but the Giants are going to need to stay competitive in this game. They're going to need to have sustained long drives. They can't. The way you beat the Seahawks is by outscoring the Seahawks. The Giants are not going to outscore the Seahawks. They're going to have to come up with a plan to move the ball. Because if you just hit 1 or 2 big plays against the Seahawks, say you hit a 40-yard pass against the Seahawks, you get down to the 25 and you end up kicking a 42-yard field goal. Great. Well, the Seahawks are going to come back in 6 plays and score a touchdown. So, like, you need to possess the ball. That's the Giants' only real shot to stay competitive in this game. Deep shots are nice and sexy, and you need a couple to keep the defense honest, but you really need a big game from the offensive line in Tyrone Tracy and Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, we call that the madness while being methodical. You see the Giants being able to move down the field with methodical drives. They get into a 3rd and 6, 3rd and -6, and they're able to complete a pass or complete some sort of run to get the first down and keep moving. But within that, you have to be able to take the shots and complete the shots to be able to be extremely efficient on offense. That's when you're cooking with gas, as we said. I was able to talk to Tyrone Tracy Jr., and we have his interview up here on Blue Rush that you guys are going to see later. And one thing he said, Ryan, and I'm going to go back and listen to that interview. I think he said something about ball security or taking care of the ball about 5 or 6 times. And I didn't take it as like a subliminal shot at Devin Singletary, but I think the young boy knows how to take over and how to be this team's RB1 going forward. If he can have a game where he rushes for, let's say, 80-plus yards, 1 to 2 touchdowns, but no turnovers, he sees an opportunity to kind of come in, make plays for this Giants offense. And we don't know what he offers just yet as a full workload back. So Tyrone Tracy Jr. was someone that I was really excited about when they drafted him because of what he can do, not only in the pass game, but the running game. So if there's any time for him to really show what he has, and I guess while he pips somebody, this is the game, especially with Seattle's defensive line kind of being banged up right now.
Yeah, 2 things. One is it's a great test for the Joe Shane theory and for all the people who yell at me on social media that all running backs are the same if you have a good offensive line. Well, here's your chance to show that you can just plug in a 5th-round pick rookie running back and he can run the ball as well as Saquon Barkley used to, or as well as Devin Singletary does for his $9 million a year, whatever they're paying him. This is your chance to prove the theory. Like, Tyron's your next man up, and running back, just no drop off. Here's your theory. And as for ball security, let's remember this. Devin Singletary has had, I believe, what is it now, Brandon? It's 2 fumbles, both lost, and a near fumble against the Cowboys that was overturned on replay. But Tyrone Tracy had a fumble on a kickoff return, and Eric Gray has fumbled pretty much at a ridiculously high rate per touch in his NFL career. 3 on punts last year and a fumbled kickoff to start the Browns game this year. So both of them have had ball security issues as special teamers. And now you're going to Tyrone Tracy was actually pulled as a kick returner after his fumble. And now you're going to give them the running back carries. Say they get 25 carries or whatever. That's 25 times where those 2 guys have to hold on to the ball, and they haven't shown they've been able to do it on special teams. So it'd be interesting to see if they could do it out of the backfield where they're obviously both much more comfortable than they are as returners.
It's almost like every position group on the Giants offense has eyes on for a certain reason. With the receiver core, obviously Malik Nabers being out, but the drops, you got to prove that you're a receiver core that's willing and able and can catch the football in tight moments. When it comes to
separation. You're a former receiver. Don't forget that, Brandon. Malik Nabers' best trait is he's always open. Can these other guys gain separation so Daniel Jones isn't making tight window throws?
Yeah, we got a next-gen stat on Wan'Dale Robinson versus the Seahawks last season. His average yards of separation were 4.41 yards. Right now, the league average in separations is 2.96, and I'll explain that later when we do our next-gen stats segment. But that's a huge deal, especially against Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen. These guys have Pro Bowl caliber cornerbacks in that secondary, and I think it's the most well-rounded secondary the Giants have faced the entire year. Whether the eye is going to be when it comes to the running backs, holding, carrying the football, Tiki Barber, high and tight, not turning the ball over. You mentioned Eric Gray and Tyrone Tracy Jr., only 84 career rushing yards between the two of them. So outside of Motor Singletary, the Giants running back room is a bunch of unknowns. Now they get a chance to kind of go out there on not so much primetime TV, but on TV and show people, hey, let me put some great things on tape. Last but not least, before we start talking defense, Daniel Jones. Every game, Daniel Jones goes into that game with eyes on him. Again, 0-2 against the Seahawks, 2 interceptions last year. It was a pick six at home that kind of sealed that game. I think this is a game with Daniel Jones, get away from MetLife Stadium, go on the road, and just sling it. Be that guy. Do you feel as though, and you saw, and you know Daniel Jones, do you feel like this is a game that it's better for him to be away, even though it's Lumen Field, to be away to kind of light it up in the show? It has another game for him to show that, hey, I can play within this offense.
I think the pass protection is the strength of the offensive line. Yeah. So that more so than the run game. So he's learning that. I think he's getting more comfortable in that. So I think the Giants should lean pass. I think in general, I agree with your point that Daniel Jones is going to play better on the road. The home is almost a more hostile environment right now for him than the boos are waiting for him. So on the road is generally a better spot. I don't love him without Malik Nabers, and I don't love him within maybe the hardest environment of all in the NFL to play in. Like generally on the road, yes. In Seattle, more difficult. Generally pass, yes. Without Malik Nabers, much more difficult.
Yeah, and we talk about a Giants offensive line that surrendered 10 sacks last season against Seattle, but it's a brand new offensive line.
Throw that out.
Pass protection is the strength of the entire offense right now outside of Malik Nabers. Let's flip it because there's a quarterback on the other side that people wrote off, but he ain't right back though. Geno Smith, first in passing yards, first in completions, second amongst quarterbacks with 4 starts with 72.3 completion percentage, 13-9 record at home. And he has a stable or a plethora of receivers to throw to. That big three between DK Metcalf, Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Jigma average 198.8 receiving yards combined per game. I didn't do well in math. Let's go ahead and round that up to the nearest 100. That's 200 yards per game for 3 receivers. These Giants corners have their hands full on Sunday, Ryan.
They do. That's what I actually wrote my story about in today's New York Post. I mean, it is the mismatch of mismatches on paper. You just gave the Seahawks stats for the receivers. Well, here's the Giants stats for their top 2 corners. Opposing quarterbacks have a 132.3 quarterback rating. Spoiler, that's very good. When targeting Deonte Banks, 17 of 27 for 247 yards and 4 touchdowns. When targeting Cordell Flott, it's only mildly better. 13 of 17 for 146 yards and a touchdown and a 121.2 quarterback rating. So they haven't done a good job, and they're getting their best test yet. So everything would tell you a big day is coming for the Seahawks passing offense, unless Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau can wreck the game the way that this defense was designed to be, but hasn't been yet.
Let's swap that Leonard Williams for Brian Burns. Leonard Williams plays for the Seahawks. That's you thinking Giants of the past. And we don't know if Big Cat's going to play on that side. He was limited at practice the other day. He was out last game. So it's going to be interesting to see what photos he and Dexter Lawrence get, because those two are really good friends. But you talk about that big 3 of pass rush, they got to get there. I spoke with Brian Burns in the locker room as well. He was talking about how Geno Smith gets the ball out really fast. He's top 6 right now in time to throw in terms of getting the ball out at 2.96 seconds. I think it's going to be on Shane Bowen and what kind of game he calls. Are you going to call a game for Deshaun Watson where you blitzed around 40% of the time, or are you going to call a game for Dak Prescott where you kind of didn't blitz and you kind of sat back and tried to play zone a little bit and keep everything in front of you? How is he going to protect these defensive backs? And then how does that pass rush? How do you generate some sort of pressures and hurries? And like Brian Burns said, first it starts in the run game. He says you got to earn the right to rush. And you got a guy like Kenneth Walker III, who that's the most explosive running back the Giants have played this season. So you cannot allow him, and I say it each week, it's like a broken record. You can't allow a running back to get 6 to 8 yards on first down because they're ahead of the chains. Now that's more advantageous for Geno. Quick game, get the ball out. So it's going to start the Shane Bowen. I wonder if he's losing sleep this week, trying to figure out how to dial up run pressure and get some sort of pressure on Geno Smith. But they're going to have to keep them in a 3rd and 8+ in order for Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau to be remotely effective.
Yeah, what he did against the Browns, and I don't know that it was planned necessarily, was he used a lot of 2nd, 3rd level blitzers, Jason Pinnock especially. Yeah. You could see that against the Seahawks. I think he mentioned it yesterday as a strength of the defense that they have to capitalize on. I do think to a degree that was a Deshaun Watson specific, a quarterback who's clearly lost, doesn't know, can't make the right reads right now, as a shell of his former self. That was taking advantage of him versus Geno Smith obviously is making all the right decisions. So I don't know that sending blitzers, he'll probably just throw it where you aim. So I don't know if that'll work, but look, this is as cliche as it comes. Dexter Lawrence is the Giants' best player. He gets double teamed every game. You mentioned Kenneth Walker. Like, Dexter Lawrence has to shut down the run game, and as quick as Geno Smith throws the ball, the quickest way to affect the passer, as we know, as really the Giants invented with Justin Tuck in the middle, is right in the quarterback's face. That's what they did to Tom Brady all those years. For the last 20 years, people have copied it. The Giants' best bet for defense is Dexter Lawrence dominates this game, shuts off the middle of the field for Kenneth Walker, and is harassing Geno Smith. And the shortest point is a straight line.
Yep. And it's set up for him to eat, because you think about the left and right guards for the Seahawks offensive line. Mike McDonald has said that spot isn't settled. You got Anthony Bradford, who started, and then rookie Christian Hayes got work at right guard last week. If you look at the tape, these guys are getting blown back. There's a party in the backfield, but Kenneth Walker is able to kind of overcome that using his speed and explosiveness. So this is a game where Dexter Lawrence is going to have one of those guards or a center on skates, kind of skating back there. And like you said, affecting Geno Smith without kind of affecting him, getting him to move off that line. Last but not least, man, you're the respected media guy here. What's the last storyline we need to be thinking about, or everyone's going to be talking about going into Sunday?
I think we hit all the major storyline. Like I said, I think it's the passing attack for the Seahawks against the Giants secondary is the big thing. It's how the Giants can even get first downs, move the ball. Like, they've been talking all week about how they move the ball. They just haven't been able to connect in the red zone. Or are they still going to be able to move the ball if they don't have Singletary and Nabers? I think those are the two biggest storylines of the game by far. What I'll be writing about today probably is the two I name dropped him earlier, Leonard Williams and Julian Love, the two former Giants who this regime decided to move on from and are got big deals in Seattle. So this Giants roster obviously is young. It could use more talent. Those were two players that were here for a long time, didn't do a lot of winning, but have found themselves in Seattle. So I'll probably be writing about those two guys today and just seeing, obviously, what the deal is with Nabers and the receiving core. I will say Jalen Hyatt sounds confident. So if Giants fans are thirsty for Jalen Hyatt, he's not a guy whose time on the bench has lost any of his swagger.
All right, you can check these articles out on NewYorkPost.com/sports. Ryan Dunleavy, thanks for hopping on with this, my man.
Thanks, Brandon. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again, Ryan, for filling in. Go ahead and fill your time card out. Fill in some OT right there. Well-deserved. Again, for you guys, check out his and Paul's articles on the Giants at NewYorkPost.com/sports. All right, let's lock in now, because two big questions heading into Sunday are, how are the Giants going to stop Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense? And can the Giants' run game run the rock against a banged-up Seahawks defensive line? Well, guess what? I went into the locker room earlier this week, and I spoke with Dexter Lawrence, Burns and Tyrone Tracy Jr. for some answers in this week's London in the Locker Room.
Brian, you had a couple days off since that Thursday night football game, man. How's the body feeling? How's the mind feeling?
Feel good. Just focused on getting my body back, reevaluating these first 4 games and get back to the drawing board.
All right, take me into that evaluation process. Like, what grade would you give yourself a quarter way throughout the football season?
I give it a C+, C.
Is that from stats, or is that from you actually looking at the tape and breaking down what you're doing out there?
That's just from me being hard on myself, part of it, and then secondly, just knowing that I can impact the game in different ways that I haven't been.
So how do you do that? How does Brian Burns get better? Like, take us through your mind, your mental, not only going into practice, but the weight room, just the grind in general to create and to wreak havoc out there.
More film, more intentional in practice, and, just more of a relentless mindset. So doing a lot more just like affirmations, like positive affirmations in the morning, just, things of that nature. But the main things is film and intentionality in practice.
So it's not even physical, it's just a lot of mental, like you got a lot of mental battles going on when it comes to like your performance or how you're playing or how you're attacking how you attack like offensive line and the offense.
Normally, no. I would say I'm just trying to be a little more aware of it. I don't want to be naive to the fact that, your mental can't get away from you in a long season. But, the details, they play a part in this, and that's what I've been focusing on.
I was just talking to Dexter Lawrence and asking about going from Deshaun Watson to Dak Prescott, now Geno Smith. It's like mobile, athletic quarterback after quarterback. Like, what kind of things is a Geno presenting to you and a Kayvon Thibodeau as opposed to the Dak Prescotts and the Deshaun Watsons?
They all kind of had the same tendency as far as holding the ball. Dak did a great job Thursday of getting rid of it quick. His average throw time was like 2-3 or something like that. It was fast. But I know Geno's going to look for the big play. He's going to look to, extend plays and really throw those deep shots to DK and whatnot. So that gives us a chance to get after him and create some negative plays.
So was this a pass rush game then? Pass rush. You guys are putting it on yourselves in the defensive line room and the edge rushers room that, hey, we got to get after this guy to help, not only help the back end, but to win this one.
Facts. And, you got to stop the run first, got to earn the right to rush. But that's the plan. So once we get into the pass rush situations, make them one-dimensional, it's time for us to eat.
All right, I had to end the Dexter Lawrence interview to put a smile on his face. What you rocking outfit-wise Sunday?
I don't even have anything.
Stop it. Why y'all trying to act like y'all don't just already have something laid out like it's the first day of school?
I never do.
Okay.
Everything really be off just like feel and like what I got.
All right. Well, send me that picture, man, so we can use it in one of our segments, our fashion segment.
I got you.
Good luck on Sunday, bro.
Appreciate you.
All right, I'm here with Dexter Lawrence. You guys kind of had a little break away from things for a little bit. What's kind of been the vibes like today at practice, and how did it feel to get back out there and get ready for Seattle?
I felt good. Guys was moving well. You could tell we, took care of our bodies over this break and was ready to go for practice today. It was intense, which all the practices are. So, good jump start after the mini bye, I call it.
Leadership-wise, what are you telling the guys going into a 3-1 Seattle team on the road?
Mm-hmm. Just giving a little more. We all can give a little more. That's finishing on the play a little harder, running a little harder, playing a block better. It's just a little more mentally that you got to think about to push through things.
We're a quarter of a way throughout the season. Defensively, where are you guys at? You're getting pressure on the quarterbacks. You got 14, 15 sacks on the season. That's more than that point from last year. So where are you guys at defensively, and what do you feel as though you can get better at?
I feel like we're growing every week. It's the sky's the limit with us, and we know that. We just got to keep, honing in on the little things and growing together and becoming a unit.
You go from Deshaun Watson to Dak Prescott, now Geno Smith, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. What does Geno present to you guys in terms of challenges?
Probably just how quick he get the ball out. He knows how to control his offense, and that's what a good quarterback does. So I'm excited to go against him. Been against him a couple of times. We just got to finish it this year.
Let me put a smile on your face. Your fits, your pregame fits have been on point. We've talked about it at the Post in our fashion segment. Any tease on what you're going to be rocking on Sunday?
Not yet. I got to go dig in my closet a little bit.
You don't dig in no closet. Abercrombie sending you clothes.
I'll walk into the closet. You're right. I'm joking. But probably just, I don't know yet. I don't know. Probably a suit for sure. A little classy, classy suit. Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck on Sunday, my man.
Thank you.
Tyrone Tracy Jr., you just came off the little, I guess, mini bye week. Yep. First 4 games into your NFL season, complete in the books. Grade yourself. How do you feel? And are you acclimated to the game speed of the NFL?
First and foremost, man, I think that I'm, acclimating well. I think I'm coming along fairly well. I think there's obviously things I can clean up. I think after the first 4 games, you go back and watch yourself, and just self-grade yourself. I think I can do better in the run game. I think I've done really well in the pass game. I think I've done well pass blocking. But yeah, in the run game, I think I could just run, more demonstrative, being more aggressive, understanding, my eyes and trusting, my eyes as well. But I feel like I'm getting adjusted well to the speed, but it's going to be more so just about me, and my mentality and how I run the ball.
So what's that mentality been like? I guess one day of practice right now, but knowing that you could get the bulk of the carries on Sunday with the injury to Motor Singletary, waiting to see if he can go or not. Mm-hmm. What's that mentality been like for you in terms of your preparation this week, again, knowing that you can get the bulk?
I mean, to be honest with you, I prepare the same every single week. So, when opportunity like this come along, you shouldn't have to change anything about you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing what I've been doing for the past 4 weeks. But obviously, every time I go out there in the football field, you want to have something that you get better at. So today, for example, you go out there, I'm working on just making sure that I'm getting downhill, running behind my pass, making sure that I'm, having great ball security at all times. But again, like I said, if you do things the right way, you shouldn't have to go out there and change how you prepare for a game. It's more so just continuing to do it so that when you do get the opportunities, you go out there and play fast.
But does that make you play a little bit more relaxed, knowing that your load could increase and not having to go out? And obviously you're going to make the best out of each carry, each opportunity you get, but knowing that you can get more, does that kind of put you at ease a little bit on the pressure to make something happen every time you step on the field? Yeah,
it definitely do. When you get, in NFL, opportunities don't come, as often as they do in college. Yep. So when you do get an opportunity to make a big play, you really want to get it. But you kind of just, you can't really, try too hard or, something bad might happen. So now, I wouldn't say I'm kind of relaxed, but it's more so just understanding, the position I'm in and just making sure that I'm taking care of the ball. Taking my 2 yards when it's 2 yards, but if it's 20, I'm going to take my 20. You know what I'm saying? So, if it's a big play there, I'm going to try to capitalize on the opportunity, but if it's not, I'm going to do the best I can.
You talked about taking the 20. If it's 20, this run game hasn't had many runs over 20-plus yards. Kind of take us through the meeting room from the running backs and the offensive line communication. What's that like in terms of you guys creating the big play together?
Yeah, I mean, from O-line to running back to tight ends, I think we all are going to come together. I think that this last game wasn't a good representation of who we are as a whole. So I think if we just do us and just understand, who we're blocking, who our keys are as a running backs, understanding the holes, our eyes, our lanes, and when we were running downhill behind our pads, we have shown that we can have a good running offense. So I think, like I said, just doing us, understanding who we have in our room, and understanding as an offense, what we're trying to get accomplished, we'll be fine.
All right, good luck on Sunday, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate that, fellas. You guys are always looking out for me when I'm in the locker room. All right, let's lock in again because everybody knows in the game of football, winning is all about the details. And if the Giants are going to go on the road and beat a 3-1 Seahawks team, they are going to have to take care of the championship details. So let's see what the analytics have to say about Sunday. I've got some advanced data and stats for you guys to keep an eye out on, and that's provided by our good friends over at Next Gen Stats, and it all starts with getting after Geno Smith. In fact, Geno Smith averages a 2.65 seconds time to throw per drop back, and that's 6th fastest among qualified quarterbacks. The Seahawks offensive line has struggled this season, but their offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, is doing a great job helping his O-line and protecting his quarterback by calling plays for Geno to get the ball out of his hands fast. On the run game side, running back Kenneth Walker III had 2 runs of more than 20 miles per hour in their Week 4 loss to the Lions. Wheels, I'm talking 20.86 miles per hour and 20.33 miles per hour. You don't think that's fast? Do me a favor. The next time you're at Planet Fitness during your cardio, try and bump up the treadmill speed to about 20 miles per hour, and you can tell me how that goes. In fact, take a video selfie. The Giants defense hasn't faced a running back this explosive all season. They got to stop K9. On the offensive side, you see him right there. Wan'Dale Robinson averaged 4.41 yards of separation versus the Seahawks last year, and here's why separation is going to matter this game. If a defensive back is all over a wide receiver, it's a tougher throw for Daniel Jones or any quarterback, and a tougher catch for any wideout out there. The league average this season is actually 2.96 yards of separation. Wan'Dale was 4th in the NFL with 38 targets this season with 26 catches, and that 26 is good for 5th most in the NFL. Now it's official. Malik Nabers is out this game with a concussion, so Wan'Dale can help Daniel Jones and this pass game by continuing to separate himself from the pack. Last but not least, it's no secret, the Giants haven't connected on a pass play for over 40 yards at all this season. And they only hit 7 last year. So here's what you need to keep an eye out for. The Seahawks defense has allowed a 34.5% completion percentage and 8.2 yards per attempt on downfield pass attempts, 10-plus air yards this season. Here's why it's important. That's the 4th lowest and 4th fewest in the league. Daniel Jones has been efficient this season, but this is a game where the offense is going to have to connect on 1 to 2 deep balls. That wasn't feelings. That wasn't facts. That was next-gen stats. So thanks for watching Blue Rush Preview Show, everybody. Make sure you stay locked in to the New York Post Sports social media pages for when and how to watch our post-game live stream right after the game. We've got Mark Cannizzaro with us this week. Thanks to Ryan Dunleavy for stepping in, and shout out to the players again for the insight. And again, to all of our Giants Jewish friends out there, happy Rosh Hashanah, to Paul Schwartz, you guys, and to your families as well. Thank you guys for watching Big Blue and hanging out with me, and I guess I'm going to see you guys week 6.